I texted my husband, "I'm divorcing you," thinking my affair would save me, but 2 days later my lover blocked me and I lost everything. I'm shaking writing this, but here goes. My name is Melissa. I'm 32 years old, female, and 2 weeks ago I detonated my entire life with one text message. I thought I was clever. Thought I was finally taking control. After months of sneaking around with Derek, 35, male, the guy I convinced myself was my real soulmate, I pulled out my phone and typed those 6 words to my husband Jason, 34, male. "I'm divorcing you next week." Sent it while lying in Derek's bed, his arm draped lazily across me like he was already claiming me. You know that sick rush you get when you press send on something irreversible? That adrenaline hit, heart pounding in your ears. That's what I felt. Except instead of panic, I felt relief. Like I'd finally stepped into the better life I deserved. I genuinely believed Derek was going to propose the moment I was free. I pictured champagne, whispered promises, the whole fantasy. Jason's reply came 5 minutes later. Calm, cold, not a single typo. Just, "Already filed, prenup enforced. My lawyer will be in touch." I stared at the screen, my stomach dropping so hard I thought I'd puke right there in Derek's sheets. The smug smile I'd had just seconds before evaporated. I remember whispering, "What the hell?" Derek barely looked up from scrolling Instagram. He muttered something like, "Guess he beat you to it," before rolling over. That was the first crack. And God, it split fast. Let me give you some context, because otherwise I'll sound like a caricature. Jason and I have been married 7 years. He's the steady, disciplined type. Works in finance, runs at 6 a.m., never raises his voice. He loved me in this quiet, unwavering way that sometimes felt suffocating. I craved intensity. I craved chaos. That's where Derek slithered in. Derek was the opposite of Jason. A graphic designer with a messy hair, bad boy energy, and a habit of saying things like, "You're not like other women." He made me feel alive in a way Jason didn't, but he also loved the chase more than the catch. I see that now. Too late. I didn't realize Jason already knew about Derek, about everything. He'd been watching, waiting, building his case like the meticulous man he is. And that prenup I'd brushed off years ago when I was starry-eyed and stupid, yeah, turns out it was ironclad. So there I was, thinking I was about to upgrade my life, when in reality Jason had already set the stage for my collapse. And it was about to get so much worse. Hey guys, real quick before we keep going, don't forget to sub and drop a like if you're enjoying the story. And tell me what you think in the comments. I'll feature the best one in the next video. The night after Jason's text, I barely slept. My brain was chewing itself alive, replaying his message over and over. Already filed, prenup enforced. It wasn't just the words, it was the calmness of them. Jason wasn't raging, he wasn't broken, he was prepared. I remember lying in Derek's apartment, staring at the ceiling fan creaking above me. Derek was snoring beside me, one arm flopped across my stomach like I was some body pillow he'd picked up at Walmart. And suddenly he didn't feel like a soulmate anymore. He felt heavy, temporary, disposable. I whispered, "What if Jason actually divorces me?" Derek, half asleep, mumbled, "That's what you wanted, right?" And turned away. That was it. No comfort, no reassurance. Just that lazy dismissal that hit me like ice water. Jason, the man I betrayed, had just shown more control with one text than Derek had in months of promises, and it terrified me. The next morning I went home. Our house felt different, like Jason's presence had already been erased. His shoes were gone from the entryway. His favorite coffee mug wasn't on the counter. There was a thin stack of papers on the dining table in a neat manila folder. Preliminary divorce filing. He left it where I couldn't miss it. I sat there for hours, flipping through page after page of legalese I barely understood. My name was printed on every sheet, stark and permanent. That's when it hit me. Jason had been planning this, maybe for weeks, maybe longer, which meant he knew about Derek, about me. I checked my phone. No new messages from Derek. Fine, I thought. I'll call him, straight to voicemail. I called again and again. By the fourth try, I was pacing the living room, whispering, "Pick up, pick up, pick up." Finally, a text buzzed through. "Can't talk right now. Busy. Don't blow up my phone. Busy." That was the word. Busy. Like I was just another problem in his inbox. I tried not to spiral, tried to remind myself Derek loved me, that he'd be there once the dust settled. But the unease had already taken root. Jason had cut me out so smoothly, so decisively, while Derek was suddenly acting like I was inconvenient. And deep down, I started to wonder if I had just torched my entire life for a man who wasn't planning to catch me when I fell. By day 3, the silence from Jason was worse than screaming. He didn't call, didn't text, didn't show up. It was like he'd vacuum sealed me out of his life overnight. The man who used to send me reminders to eat lunch or text me goodnight even when he was swamped at work had become a ghost. I kept checking Derek's phone too every time he set it down. He'd started turning it face down, and when I asked why, he gave me that smirk I used to think was sexy, but now looked smug and dismissive. "Don't be paranoid," he said. Paranoid. That word stuck in my chest like a thorn. That afternoon I got an email from Jason's lawyer. A formal notice of infidelity disclosure. My stomach flipped. The lawyer, some woman named Caldwell with a reputation for being ruthless, had attached screenshots. My screenshots. The text Derek and I had exchanged. Pictures I would sent him. I felt my blood drain as I scrolled through them, realizing Jason had everything. He must have pulled them from our shared iCloud account, the one I'd forgotten about because Jason always handled our tech stuff. He'd been watching me dig my own grave. I panicked and drove straight to Derek's place. I walked in without knocking. I still had the spare key he'd given me. And he was on the couch gaming with his headphones on, laughing with some online friend. I yanked the controller from his hands and shoved my phone in his face. They know. Jason's lawyer has everything. He looked at me like I was overreacting. "So what? You're divorcing him. Who cares?" "I care, Derek. He's going to ruin me." Derek sighed, leaned back, and muttered, "Melissa, you're acting crazy. Maybe you should chill at your place tonight." My place. He meant the house Jason and I shared. The one Jason had probably already stripped of me. I felt like my skin was on fire. I grabbed Derek's arm, desperate. "You promised we'd be together once I left, Jason." He actually laughed. Laughed. "I didn't promise anything. You're the one who blew up your marriage. Don't put that on me." I swear in that moment I saw him clearly for the first time. Not the charming rebel I'd fallen for, but a man who wanted the thrill of stealing someone else's wife without the responsibility of keeping her. I left his apartment shaking, gripping the steering wheel so hard I thought it might snap. My phone buzzed halfway home. A new email from Jason's lawyer again. This one wasn't private. It had been copied to both of our families. The subject line: "Disclosure of a grounds for divorce, Melissa." Last name. My affair wasn't a secret anymore, it was public, and Jason had made sure the people who mattered most would see it first. When that email dropped, it was like Jason had detonated a bomb right in the center of my life. I pulled over on the side of the road, hands shaking so violently I could barely unlock my phone. I scrolled through the CC list, my heart in my throat. My parents, my younger brother, Jason's parents, his sister, even my aunt who practically lives on Facebook. Every screenshot on my text with Derek, every picture, every late night, I wish I was in your bed instead of his message, all laid out in black and white. Not just for lawyers now, for everyone. The first call came from my mom. I answered, and she didn't even yell. Her voice was quiet, flat, but laced with disappointment so sharp it cut deeper than screaming ever could. "Melissa, what did you do?" I tried to defend myself, babbling about how Jason was cold, how I hadn't felt loved, how Derek made me feel alive. She cut me off mid-sentence. "You had a husband who gave you stability, a home, a life people would kill for, and you threw it away for what? For some fling?" Then came my dad. He didn't waste words. Just one brutal sentence. "You deserved nothing, Melissa. Nothing." By the time I got home, the group chat with my extended family was blowing up. My cousin had texted me, "Girl, your husband just handed you your ass in 4K. My brother simply sent a thumbs down emoji. Jason hadn't just exposed me. He'd turned me into a spectacle. And Derek? He blocked me. Instagram, phone, even Venmo. The man I thought I was leaving my marriage for erased me like I was spam mail. I sat on the floor of the empty living room. Jason had taken his things, but left mine in messy piles like he couldn't be bothered to care. A framed wedding photo that had been turned face down on the mantel. I don't know why, but that detail broke me more than anything. That night, Jason's sister posted a cryptic status on Facebook. "Cheaters think they're playing chess, but my brother just checkmated her with a prenup. Proud of you, Jay." Over 100 likes, half the comments were mutual friends we'd had during our marriage. People I thought were my people. Not anymore. The walls were closing in, and for the first time I realized Jason wasn't just divorcing me. He was destroying me piece by piece and making sure there was an audience to watch me crumble. And worst of all, I was starting to realize I deserved it. I thought the worst part would be Derek blocking me. Losing the man I'd risked everything for felt like free falling without a net. But Jason wasn't done. Not even close. 2 mornings later, there was a knock at the door. Not Jason, not Derek. It was a courier standing there with a stiff smile, holding a thick envelope with my name printed across the front. Inside, a formal notice of asset division. Jason's lawyer had laid it out in excruciating detail. Every account, every piece of property, every line of our prenup highlighted like a neon warning sign. Translation: I was walking away with almost nothing. The house? His? The car I drove? Technically leased under his name. Even the joint savings account I thought we'd built together was locked down because my contributions were minimal compared to his. I read it over and over, waiting for some loophole. There wasn't one. Jason had built the escape hatch years ago. I'd just handed him the perfect excuse to slam it shut. That night, I tried calling him. First time since sending the divorce text. Straight to voicemail. I left a rambling message, apologies, begging, even crying a little. I don't know what I expected. Maybe some shred of the man who used to hold me at night, who kissed my forehead when I couldn't sleep. But he never called back. Instead, the next day, I got another gut punch. Jason's lawyer had scheduled a meeting at his firm, and when I walked in, already trembling, I nearly collapsed seeing who was in the waiting room. My parents. My own parents. They didn't even look at me. They were there to support him. I tried to talk to my dad, whispering, "Please, can we just..." but he brushed past me like I was a stranger. My mom's eyes were red, but she wouldn't meet mine. The betrayal stung, but I knew deep down this wasn't their betrayal, it was mine. Jason came out of the office just then. He looked sharp, composed, not a hair out of place. He didn't even glance at me. He just put a hand on my father's shoulder and said, "Thank you for being here." Like he was the wounded one. Like they were his family now. And maybe they were. I drove home with my head spinning, every part of me vibrating with rage and humiliation. I grabbed the wedding photo from the mantel, the one he'd flipped face down, and hurled it against the wall. The glass shattered, spraying across the hardwood. I screamed until my throat went raw, collapsed on the floor, and curled around the broken frame like it was a body. For the first time, it dawned on me. Jason wasn't just divorcing me. He was erasing me from every corner of the life we'd built. He wanted me not just gone, but invisible. And maybe, just maybe, that was the sweetest revenge of all. The silence in that house was unbearable. Every room screamed of Jason, but he wasn't there. Just me and the wreckage. I hadn't eaten in days, could sleep more than an hour without waking up in a cold sweat. I kept thinking, if I could just talk to Derek, if I could get him to see how badly I needed him, maybe I wouldn't feel like such a ghost in my own life. So I drove to his apartment. It was raining hard, windshield wipers squealing, my heart pounding so loud I could barely think. I didn't knock this time. I pounded, over and over. Finally, Derek cracked the door open, shirtless, hair messy, and definitely not alone. I caught a glimpse of her. Some girl in one of his t-shirts was standing in the kitchen like she belonged there. "Melissa, what the hell are you doing here?" he hissed, trying to block the doorway. I shoved past him. "You block me! You cut me off! After everything you—" My voice cracked. I was shaking, rainwater dripping down my hair onto the floor. The girl peeked out wide-eyed. Derek swore under his breath and shoved me back toward the hall. "You need to leave. Now. You're making a scene." "Making a scene?" I screamed, my voice echoing through the building. "You ruined my life. I left everything for you." The girl disappeared into the bedroom, the door clicking shut. Derek grabbed my arm hard enough to leave marks and dragged me toward the exit. "You didn't leave for me, Melissa. You left because you're selfish. Don't twist it." He shoved me into the hallway and slammed the door so hard the frame rattled. I stood there, soaked and humiliated, neighbors cracking their doors open to peek at the chaos. One woman shook her head, whispered something I couldn't hear, and closed her door again. I drove back to the house, sobbing so hard I had to pull over twice just to breathe. By the time I walked in the door, another email was waiting. Jason's lawyer again. This one was brutal. Jason had filed for an at-fault divorce, citing marital misconduct. Translation? Every humiliating detail of my affair would be public record. The email included the court date. I curled up on the floor, clutching my phone like it might save me. Jason wasn't yelling, wasn't fighting. He was dismantling me with precision, one move at a time. And Derek. He had already moved on, like I was just a bad memory. I wanted to scream at both of them, to set fire to everything, to make them feel even a fraction of the pain consuming me. Instead, I lay there surrounded by shards of the wedding photo I'd smashed, realizing Jason's revenge wasn't about anger at all. It was about watching me burn myself to ashes. The court date was approaching like a storm cloud, and every day I could feel the walls closing in tighter. Jason didn't need to yell, didn't need to confront me. He let his lawyer and the evidence do the talking. And the worst part? Everyone seemed to be rooting for him. At the grocery store, I caught two women whispering near the produce section, eyes flicking toward me. One of them muttered, That's her, the one who cheated. Word had spread faster than wildfire thanks to Jason's family and the little circle we used to share. Suddenly I wasn't Melissa, the wife, the friend, the neighbor. I was Melissa, the cheater. And I couldn't take it anymore. The breaking point came when Jason's sister threw a birthday party for her kid. Before, I had been part of every family event, helping decorate, bringing gifts, singing happy birthday. This time the invite never came. I only found out when I saw photos on Facebook. Jason smiling with his nieces and nephews, my parents there too, everyone laughing like I'd never existed. I snapped. I drove over uninvited, stormed right into the backyard where the party was happening. Music was playing, kids running around, balloons everywhere. And then me, red-eyed, shaking, desperate. "Jason!" I shouted. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Everyone turned. Jason was standing near the grill, beer in hand, calm as ever. He didn't move, didn't even look surprised. "Melissa, this isn't the time," he said, his voice steady. "Not the time? You've turned my family against me. You've ruined me, and you're just... what? Smiling through a barbecue like none of this matters?" My voice cracked. I could hear how unhinged I sounded, but I couldn't stop. Jason put his beer down and finally met my eyes. "You ruined yourself, Melissa. I just stopped covering for you." Gas rippled through the crowd. My dad shook his head and muttered, "She doesn't even get it." My mom pulled her chair back like she couldn't bear to be near me. Jason's sister ushered her kids inside, whispering, "Come on, let's go." I was losing it. Derek was supposed to be there for me. He loved me. The words tumbled out before I could catch them. Jason's eyebrows lifted just slightly, almost pitying. And then, in front of everyone, he delivered the final blow. "Derek already told me. He never loved you, Melissa. You were just convenient." It was like someone punched me in the chest. My knees buckled. People stared, some whispering, others just watching in silence. Jason didn't gloat, didn't raise his voice. He just exposed the truth with surgical precision. I stumbled out of that backyard, humiliated beyond words, the sound of muffled laughter following me as the gate clicked shut behind me. And in that moment, I knew. Jason didn't need to destroy me with lawyers or money. He'd already won. His revenge was letting me unravel in front of everyone who used to matter. The day of the hearing felt like a funeral. My own. I walked into that courthouse wearing the only decent outfit I still had left. Black skirt, blouse, blazer that didn't quite fit right. My hair was tied back, but my hands shook so badly I could barely clip it. The halls smelled like disinfectant and coffee, a sterile kind of finality. Jason was already there when I arrived, seated with his lawyer. He looked composed, polished, unreadable. Not once did he glance in my direction. I wanted him to look at me, to show something, anything. But he didn't. It was like I was invisible. When the judge read out the terms, it was like watching my life dissolve in real time. The prenup was enforced to the letter. Jason kept the house, the savings, even the car. I was left with my personal belongings and whatever debt was in my name. No spousal support and no second chances. Caldwell, his lawyer, didn't miss the chance to twist the knife. She laid out the infidelity evidence with surgical precision, her voice steady but sharp. Every text to Derek, every photo, every late-night call log. The judge barely looked at me as he stamped the paperwork. By the time we stepped outside, it was official. 7 years of marriage reduced to a stack of papers in Jason's leather briefcase. My parents were waiting in the lobby. For a moment I thought maybe they'd hug me, tell me I wasn't alone. but my dad just gave me a curt nod, and my mom whispered, "We told you, Melissa." Then they turned to Jason, and told him they were sorry for what I'd done. I couldn't breathe. I walked out of that courthouse into the gray afternoon, the world buzzing around me like nothing had changed. But everything had. Later, I went back to the house one last time to collect the rest of my things. The key didn't fit anymore. Jason had already changed the locks. I stood there on the porch, bags at my feet, staring at the door I used to call home. Through the window, I saw the flipped wedding photo was gone, too. It was like I'd never been there. And that's Jason's revenge. He didn't scream, didn't fight, didn't throw things. He just cut me out cleanly, quietly, surgically, until all that was left of me was the wreckage I'd made myself. Now I'm in a one-bedroom apartment with peeling paint and a leaky faucet, scrolling through social media like a ghost. Derek's moved on. Jason's thriving. My family barely speaks to me. And me? I'm the cautionary tale whispered about at dinner tables, all because I thought 6 words, "I'm divorcing you next week," would give me freedom. Instead, they buried me. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and like it. You can also watch more shocking stories in the playlist.